And welcome. It's Jennifer Victoria Bell, and I wanted to share about, um, light workers and light leaders, and why we need to change some of this language which of the light and the dark. Now, a lot of people will talk about the light and the dark and say the light and the dark. It's a battle of good and evil. Well, the truth is, and we really have to see it this way. It's just imperative we see it this way. That the light is light. It encompasses the full spectrum of what we see and what we can't see. What we can see is what people are calling the light, and what we can't see is what people are calling the dark. Now, throughout our history, we have had many people that have tried to keep us in the dark. There's been many agendas trying to keep humanity in the dark. What that really means is that they want to prevent humans from seeing or knowing how powerful and loving they are. That's really what that means. So when I hear so many people that that are in the kind of disclosure communities or that are calling themselves light workers that are talking about the dark, and they're talking about the dark. The dark is bad, right? That this is the way that's being spoken about. The dark is bad, the light is good. Well, there are two things that are essentially um, that I don't want to say wrong, but these are going to basically leave you open, right, for more manipulation. And they're also they're telling me two things. When people speak that way, one, I know that they have inner child wounds and fears that they haven't dealt with, and two, that they're still speaking through the religion that they've been indoctrinated into. Now, this is a manipulation tactic, okay? This is how people teach us about the light and the dark by calling it good and evil or good and bad, is a way to manipulate us as people. Why? Why? Why is it? Why is it manipulation? Because um, at night, right? Night is dark. So when the moon is out, when you can see the stars, that's dark. But we have this programming inside of us that's saying the dark is bad. So then we can't see the full beauty and take in the full light of the night if we're always told that it's bad. And so what I see with my clients that have been speaking this way or believing this way is they're actually creating a frequency fence that is preventing them from bringing in more healing for themselves, more healing for their clients. It's preventing them from opening up their consciousness. It's literally creating a fence or a barrier that is limiting them in so many ways. It'll limit you even in attracting clients and through those clients receiving more money. And why am I saying this? Why am I speaking about this? Because it needs to change. There are people of influence, many people of influence, who are still talking about this fight between the light and the dark. It is not that. It is absolutely not that. It is this. We have to start talking about how what we perceive as dark is really manipulation. It's distortion. It is a misuse of the light in general. It is a misuse of light. It is a manipulation of light, and it is a manipulation of light that's agenda is to manipulate others. Is so we'll go a little bit down the rabbit hole. So when I understand and look at the way that the people who light workers will call dark, right, or how we perceive the powers that be, right, or whatever it is, however we see as evil, or the system, right, the way the system has been working. When I go in there, right, and I look around, this is what the issue is, okay? The issue is that these are people who have been trained, that are indoctrinated in a way that says, I don't have enough light or access to the light or access to source or access to resources on my own. So I must steal them from others. I must manipulate others so I can siphon from their source of light. So can you, if you can just take that in for a moment and realize how that is a very, it's not a very strong foundation. Because that says that those people that have set up these systems, right, these systems of manipulation, uh, are basically inherently believing that they don't have enough themselves. So they're setting up, right, a system of consuming. When really, if we just were able to embody the truth that we are all light and we have infinite resource of light to nurture us, to support us, to love us, so we can love ourselves, this system would start to change. But what's also happening is we have people who we see as like, oh, these people are well intentioned and they're saying they're of the light and they're talking about this in a very specific way, about love and light. But the truth is, they're actually manipulating you just as much. And one of the reasons you can't see it is because of the way that they're speaking. So they're speaking in a way, they're indoctrinated in a way, right? That also is saying the same thing. You're not enough, and you have to reach for an outside source of light outside yourself to be enough, right? That's the underlying idea here, where it's like, well, if I can channel an archangel or an ascended master or something greater than myself, then I'm enough. Well, that is a system that is going to absolutely fall apart on you eventually, right? And so what's happening is in the collective is starting to be able to see certain truths. Once more, we have a greater weight in the collective of people, greater numbers of people who are sensing this truth and understanding and really coming from this supportive, aligned place that says, I am a source of light for myself. I am a source of love for myself. There is no greater source of love and light for myself than myself, because I am that, right? Which is that source that I'm seeking outside of myself. It is the same. So if you always see yourself as less than this outside source that you are seeking, you are going to you're going to be building your life from less than. We have to understand this. And this is not coming from a place of grandiosity or saying, like I could say, like, you are God and I am God and we're all God. I could say it that way. And there's no being that's less than that energy or less than that consciousness. And how important is it for all of us to understand this, to begin to understand? Because when we curse the dark, when we keep speaking about the dark in this way, we are still putting static. So some people are they're on one side of their mouth, they're talking about the feminine. They're talking about the feminine, they're talking about the dark of the feminine. On the other side of their mouth, they're talking about how the dark is bad. If you're speaking out of both sides of your mouth that way, you're creating conflict in your relationship with the universe, with yourself, with your own dark places. And here's the places that you're dark. Your body is dark. You can't see inside it. Like right now, I don't have Superman X-ray vision. I cannot see inside this structure, and neither can you see inside yours unless you're doing inner visioning, and that's something else. But with our physical sight, not yet, right? And thank goodness, because I really don't want people being able to see all that without my permission. Okay. But the other place that's dark is our dreams, our subconscious, our unconscious. That is our dark. And so what people are doing, and light workers are training people without even realizing it, they're putting a frequency fence between them and their own unconscious subconscious. What does that do? What is that? That creates an inability to really align yourself with your soul and your heart. It really does, because it's a place you can't see. Where you can't see, is either very dark or it's very bright. Those are the two ends of the spectrum, the true ends of the spectrum. The polarity line is just light. It's just light. It's all light, okay? So if you have fear of the dark or afraid of the dark or can't, are, not willing to look in the dark, then you're not willing to look at yourself. You're not willing to look. You're not willing to invite in that next level self you keep talking about. You keep talking about as a coach, as a healer, as a guide. You can't, because you have this set up in your consciousness and you're creating a frequency fence. And there are people that are doing this who are, again, very famous light workers. Okay? I'm trying to get this out there, and I'm trying to help you to understand what is required to be able to sense that. And it's this is of the utmost importance if you are here to change the paradigm, if you are here to be innovative, if you are seeking transformation in your health, your physical health, your mental health, your emotional health, and your spiritual health. All those things can be transformed. So if you don't have this sense of vitality, or if you are struggling, let's say you're always struggling in the physical, well, then there's something going on in the mental, emotional, and spiritual as well. And because the mental, emotional, and spiritual, guess what, folks? They're dark. It's any place where we can't see with our physical eyes is a place of dark. Any place that we can't see with our physical eyes is a place of bright. So we need to reframe this. We need to start speaking about this in a very different way. And it is really important, very important, if you are a light leader, if you are here as a transformational leader, if you are putting a frequency fence up because you're judging the dark as bad, you need some support to deprogram some religious beliefs and to help your inner child and to help the fears, some fears that you may have been experiencing as a child from being in the dark or other lifetimes could be impacting this. And I can say, because what's very interesting is to see how so many people are caught up in the, it's the Democrats, it's the Republicans. Well, we need to stop all that, because that's the same thing. It's a distraction measure. It is an absolute distraction measure, and we can never find the solution if we're blaming. So you can take that light and dark, right? And you can apply it to anything, but really the opposite is bright. The opposite of dark is bright. It's not light. The polarity line is light, all of it. So there's where a lot of people are getting tripped up. You need to start kind of smelling and using your spidey senses and your intuitive senses, which are really just an extension of your physical senses, a natural extension of your physical senses, to discern and to watch when people are speaking this way. And, I'm here to change, in some ways, to change the way people speak. And I have to be mindful, even myself, because I get caught up in old ways of speaking about things. And it was interesting because I really wanted to cross my legs, and I'm maintaining a specific posture, very aligned posture to speak about this. And so I'm making a mental note of that for myself. But so it's also, when we talk about power, there's an illusion of disempowerment. We live through illusions of disempowerment. Now, the only way that anyone can siphon power from you is if you give permission or allow it. The only way that can happen is if you're not really claiming or understanding that your light exists in the dark. And letting that sink in for a moment. Because we are very powerful beings. Power is not a bad word, right? To overpower others, right? That says a lot about how that person feels about them. So power is not a bad word. And so I want you like to shift the consciousness and mindset about power. And the only way, again, to be in your full power, right, is to stop the judgment of dark, right? And to understand that there, like when I see the labels that like dark is bad, like I see that, I know again that this, whoever is writing this or whoever is sharing this post has not matured past their experience of the dark in their own childhood or from past life things. And one of the other reasons I'm sharing about this is because of money, because I would love to see everyone on the planet have enough, right? More than enough, right? Have a life that they are thriving through. And that sometimes requires money. Right now, we're in a system that requires money. It requires money to do these things. And so money is not a bad word. Money is not the root of all evil. Okay? The root of all evil, right, is truthfully is a not it is this is not understanding that you're a source of love for yourself and claiming that source of love for yourself. So it creates distortion. It creates a sense of I don't have enough, so I have to take it from this person, right? But that's not really true. It's not true at all. So it's one of the reasons I created the Money, Relationships, and Boundaries group to share so people can we can start to open up, right? Open up these places, these dark places where people are afraid to look. And money is a big mirror for that, right? It's a big mirror. If you look at your relationship with money, and I'm going to say this, and some people might might freak out, but I might as well just say, what is your relationship with God? How do you feel about God? Do you see yourself as smaller than God? If you see yourself as smaller than God, then you're giving your power away, right? You're actually saying, I don't really want to live through this full power that I have. It's not giving your power away. You're choosing not to live through the full power that is yours. So these are very important ways of thinking that need to be you really need to get organized in your mind, and allowing your heart to be the foundation of this organization, and your soul is important as well. So again, I could say that, right? We can utilize anything, these big things that people struggle with. Your biggest fear, right? Your biggest fear. If you face it and you see yourself as smaller, then you're behind that door of fear is where you could be living through that true power that's yours. Because it's your power, right? It's actually yours. And and again, true power doesn't desire to have power over others. It just has a desire, right, to feel the power through its own system in a very loving way, a very supportive way for self. And what happens then? What happens when we come into our true power in our relationship with money, in relationships themselves, or with boundaries, right? What happens then? Well, it's pretty amazing the transformations that happen, and everybody's transformations are very different. But then we can't be manipulated. Do you understand? You can't be manipulated. You become you become that very stable source of love for yourself that no one can come up to you and say, no, you're not, or try to, you know, loom over you with their whatever they have. And you're just like, well, whatever, I'm a source of love here. I got this loving power running through me all the time. It doesn't go away, and nothing can make it go away. Not anything. And if I had to define God, I would say that's what God is, this ability for us to say to claim ourselves with this full love, this supporting powerful love and allow it to, that's how we want to engage with all of life, the full bandwidth of life. And that is how we feel more vital. We enhance our vitality. So when you have, again, physical, mental, emotional, or even spiritual health issues, this is an important thing to change in your language and to start reframing the way you view the world. All of the world. We can't say, well, this only over here. Only over here can I do this. No, it has to be with all things. It has to be with all things. And remember, the universe does not understand judgment. Okay? It actually doesn't really operate through judgment. It doesn't say, it doesn't do that. The way that the universal language speaks doesn't work that way. It just doesn't. It works through this vibration and feeling. And when you're offering yourself more of your own love, that infinite wellspring of love, you get more of it. You engage with all of life through that. Who doesn't want that? I want that. So that's my consistent work, because it's not like I said, okay, I've done all the work and here I am and everything is great. There's always more work to do, because we're still in a body, and appreciating that the body is the place of alchemy where you can alchemize more, right? You can get to these places. You can get to this is the interesting thing. So in the place of the dark, if we talk about dark places, it's the afterlife. It's like when you're not in this body anymore, right? Well, you're in spirit. You're in your soul, right? Your soul's energy and basically structure. And so, but that soul structure really can't be transformed unless you're in a body. So part of my work is organizing you for the afterlife and for the next life and the next life, or really even we're organizing past lives and concurrent lives, because time's not linear, folks. But what this does, right, is you create these structures of truth in your energy field that can never be taken away by an outside source. Doesn't that feel wonderful? That you have this support with you at all times. It's the way that you can, being in a body, you could at least be appreciative for your body for this, that you can do a great deal of transformative work and alchemy while you're in the body and on the levels and layers of soul for the here and now, for this life. But it also impacts all the other ones. It's multidimensional. So it's this life and others. But we focus here because this is where your most tangible experience is happening in your consciousness, right? Your most tangible experience is happening through this human form. And in order to have a tangible experience that's based on truth, one, we need to stop calling dark energies, like we need to stop saying that the energies that are seeking to consume our light, to siphon our light, are dark. We have to stop saying that. If we keep calling them dark, then they have more dominion over our own dark than we do. And that's not okay. It's not okay. So that is one way to actually, it's not about surrounding yourself in a white light bubble, which folks will not do. Will do like very little, basically, until you get to this place of understanding, until you start to become a source of love for yourself. And you stop creating the frequency fence between you and the dark, because that's where all of your, that's where you can get resources from your soul into this human experience. So you want to manifest something, you got to do this work. You have to stop speaking this way. You want more clients, you have to stop judging the dark. You want more money, you have to stop judging the dark, because and this is a quote that came directly from my soul, folks. Cash is queen. The way you think about it is king. So if you use that quote, you better tag me. You better use my name. Again, cash is queen. The way we think about it is king. Cash is material. It comes from the material world. It's feminine, folks. So anytime we are also judging the dark, we are putting a frequency fence between us and the richness of our feminine energy. And men and women have a balance of both. It's not just like, we think about balance, people think the scales are equal. Well, that's a dance. That's an actual dance. It's not a state of equilibrium. It's a dance. It's not so static, right? It's not. But the key for that equilibrium, right, or equanimity between your feminine and masculine is to understand that one does not have more power over the other. One is not bad and the other is good. That doesn't work. It doesn't work. It just is. And we need to learn how to just be with both of those expressions, which is why I talk about yin and yang more than I talk about masculine and feminine, because those are the truth. Those are the truth. It's like the true vibratory states. And so if you don't understand that, right, and you're just focused on doing this work by balancing your masculine and feminine, and you're missing out on understanding what yin qualities are and what yang qualities are, you actually could be causing more imbalance between your masculine and feminine and putting a frequency fence between you and where you want to evolve. So if this has spoken to you, and if if you are like me and are watching the very well-known people speaking out of both sides of their mouth, right? They're speaking about the feminine as dark, but then they're speaking about the dark, you know, negative energies over here on this side of their mouth, then you know that there's something going on there, that it's creating it's creating a distortion in the way that they receive everything. Everything. So I don't watch people anymore that once I hear them say that, start speaking this way, I stop watching them. That's just me. I'm not telling you to stop watching people. Sometimes something comes out that really is helpful, but it's mostly through that filter, right? Of dark is bad, light is good. And again, I'm just going to reiterate that is the inner child wound and fear speaking, or past life wound and fear speaking. And it's also the religious programming speaking through that person, that they think that they've surpassed, but they haven't, because they're still speaking this way. So we need to change this language, the way we speak about this. And if you feel that if you resonate with this, please feel free to share it. If you have questions, please feel free to tag me in the comments below. And lots of love and aloha to all of you out there, and as you are enjoying the full spectrum of light we live through. Bye.